this at least, the base level, or I would say whatever I have given you in terms of PPT and the code. Just try it. It will help you a lot. Okay. So today, what we will cover, we'll cover something called semantic kernel, but again, it is Microsoft based framework. Okay. So that is the some, I would say, not a challenge, but again, I mean, you need to have understanding of the Microsoft, this Azure. But I don't expect everyone to, download or have the subscriptions of this Microsoft at least. Okay. But in the terms of a resume, you can put that, this Microsoft. Okay. So hope my screen is visible, right? So I can see the multiple screen in front of me. But can you see the notepad visible to you, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yes.
If anyone has any questions related to any of the sessions, do let me know. Let me check where my screen is. Yeah, okay. Now, what we have done, and there are a few more frameworks that I just want to cover it for you, because if you have a solid understanding of 3, 4 frameworks, agentic framework, I mean, it will help you a lot. So also you start working on the capstone project if you people are interested in work on the agentic AI use cases or capstone project. Okay, so start working on that. If you have any of, I would say, the use cases, also you can discuss with the whosoever is assigned to you. Okay, and then you start working on. So now when I say agentic AI framework, okay, so the frameworks typically we discussed was the first one was Crew AI, okay, and the second that we have discussed was the line graph, okay. So line graph, when you have this complex workflows, okay. So in that case, we typically use this line graph, but once you have some, let's say, it's like a basic workflows, then in that case, we typically use this Crew AI, because Crew AI is, I wouldn't say that it's a, I mean, not the industry specific, but again, it is used. But if you are more, if you know the flow, right? So I would use this word called deterministic. Okay. So deterministic means, okay. So that we typically call it as a, change this to just give me 30 seconds. Okay. Okay, so for the project, I can see someone's message here. So in the project, yeah, you can work in individual. I think Santanu sir is the right person to comment on this. But I would, okay, fine. You can work in isolation, but again, it's a group task. So if you feel like working in a group, you can. But I wouldn't say no, but you can work. So now coming to this deterministic part. So when I say deterministic, right? So I mean, it will have some fixed path. That is why I'm saying deterministic. So once you know that in your use case, if things are in a linear flow, right? So in that case, you go with this Crew AI. Okay. So Crew AI, I would say has, uh, I mean, whenever we have a fixed path to follow. So let me use this one. Just allow me 30 seconds. Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So, I was just changing the headset. Okay. So when once you have this deterministic, the path that is called the fixed path. In that case, we typically use this screw AI. But if you are not sure of that, the how your workflows will be, or maybe it's more of a dynamic in nature. If there are multiple turns, if there are multiple, the AI part involved in that. So in that case, we typically follow this lane graph. So as we discussed that in the lane graph, we have some nodes and edges, right? And also something called a memory part is there. Okay. So lane graph also remembers your previous history, okay? And it gives you flexibility to create. You have this memory. So in that case, you can design a systems where you can also implement this, hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, the memory part, why require this memory part? And when I say memory, okay, in this land graph, memory, so typically we refer to something called database. Okay, just remember it. So whenever if anybody tells you the memory, just refer it to he or she will store something in database. He is referring to some database. Maybe it's a vector database or relational database. We'll confirm much later. But they are referring to some of the database when anybody talks about the memory. In terms of AI agent also, if someone says that my AI agent has memory also, it means he or she is storing the conversations in the database. That's all. Memory means this is what you have to understand at high level. Memory means this. But there is something today I just want to discuss, you know, where my cursor is. Azure Cloud. Okay. You people don't need to have any subscriptions. Just see what I'm trying to show you. Okay. Because earlier we were using, things which we do not require any of the, the cloud environment. Okay. But if you have a little bit understanding of Azure Cloud, that how the agents are being built, okay, in Azure Cloud, because this semantic kernel, okay, semantic kernel and AutoGen are Microsoft agentic frame. Okay, Microsoft agentic framework. So these frameworks typically, it was designed by, and developed by Microsoft. Okay, so that is why if you can use this Microsoft, the Azure Cloud platform and use their LLM. So I'll show you. So don't worry about, things. So these two are the native of Microsoft, but again, you can use it in an open source, the way we have used the LangGraph and Crew AI. But let's say why you require the semantic kernel and AutoGen. We will discuss in the coming weeks this AutoGen. But when it comes to this semantic kernel, okay. So why typically we require this semantic kernel if you have this len graph? But the point of view is that there are organizations they are using Microsoft products. Okay, so if they want to use the Microsoft native AI agent framework, they'll again go with the semantic kernel. But there is a beauty of this semantic kernel is that they have something called plugins. Okay, plugins. So Semantic kernel provides plugins. So they have something called native and custom plugin. So when I say plugins, it's nothing but it's a tools. Okay. So whenever you see any plugins, it is like a tools. So earlier in LangGraph, we used to call some of the tool, right? For example, in terms of, I would say some finance data, we have some of the API calling, right? That was nothing but we were adding some tools. The same thing goes with, this semantic kernel where we require these plugins. Why we need a plugins? Again, when I say AI agent, okay, so it's nothing but it's LLM plus tool, right? But also we have something called memory. Okay. But right now, if we have this LLM plus tool, still we can call it as a agent. Okay. But how LangGraph is providing? LangGraph doesn't have this plugins facility. But even if you give them the tool through the API call, it's sufficient. And LangGraph will use as an orchestrator. So here, these things, or I would say the entire thing, need this orchestration. Something called we need, I would say, orchestration. Okay. And this orchestrator can be LangGraph and SK. That is called semantic kernel or true AI or could be AutoGen. Okay. We need someone who can orchestrate whatever happening here. We need a coordinator who can coordinate these three things: LLM, tools, and memory. Who can coordinate and who can orchestrate? These are the frameworks: LangGraph, Semantic Kernel, CrewAI, and AutoGen. So whenever somebody tells you that I'm using this orchestrator, he is referring to agentic AI framework, any of the framework he is talking about. Either he is talking about LangGraph, Semantic Kernel, CrewAI, AutoGen. Okay, depending on whatever framework he has used in his project. Okay, so or don't get confused with the orchestrator and agent framework. They are the both are the same thing. Why you need orchestrator? Once you have a multiple agent talking to each other, in that case they use orchestrator. Otherwise we have a, if it is a linear flow, we don't need orchestrator. Okay, it's by default. Let's say there are single person. Okay, we cannot give the command to a single person. He can work, right? I mean, if you are, if it's like a simple task. If there are multiple people involved in achieving a single task, in that case, you provide, someone to orchestrate, someone to, you provide someone, vigilant or someone, what you say, invigilator, those who can invigilate kind of a project manager you require because it's a huge project. If something happens bad, your project will be scrapped, right? So that is why you need this orchestrator. Okay, those who can orchestrate if there are multiple agents involved in it. That is why you need orchestrator. Otherwise, if we have a simple agent, if we are working on a simple agent, we don't need a orchestrator, but it's inbuilt. Okay, that is the beauty of this agent or agentic AI systems. And that is why people work on these frameworks. How it makes framework makes our life easy, right? So, and the beauty of this semantic kernel is that they have these native plugins. Okay. And these plugins could be, for example, I'm just giving you a scenario.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes.
Sir, can you give an example, like where we don't need an orchestrator, like an AI agent, where we don't need an orchestrator?
Hmm. So the place where we don't need orchestrator is a simple agent. If we have a simple workflow, for example, uh, prompt. We have given a prompt. We have LLM, and we have got a response. Okay. So this is, let's say, one agent. Okay. We don't need any orchestrator. Got it?
Excuse me, sir, but to give the response, like it would use some tools and things. So we would need an orchestrator so that the LLM and tools could like combine. So
This is a tool. Now, got the answer.
okay, sir. Yes, sir.
LLM is also a tool. Okay.
Yes.
It's a single tool. In your house, there is a single member. You will not let anybody to orchestrate. Means you have to do this and that, right? A single member can do anything, whatever they want to, if it is a simple thing. Okay. So the same thing happens with this. If you have a single tool, I mean, it's like I'm just asking what is the capital of India. This tool, they will call the tool is LLM, and it will give the response. Why you need an orchestrator? No, we don't need. It's like a simple linear workflow. If we have this linear workflow, we don't need any orchestrator. That's all. If
Okay,
we
sir.
have a multiple, multi-agent, in that case you need orchestrator. That you have to do this and that. You have to extract the data, scrap the data from web, and then summarize it. In that case, we will need orchestrator, because there might be a case where a second agent will start summarizing it, and he doesn't get information from a scrapper agent. So you'll get a zero result, no summary, right? So in that case, you need orchestrator. You'll say that first scrapper agent will work. That agent will scrap the data, relevant the data, and then it will pass to the summarizer agent. And then it will give me the summary. Okay. So in that case, you need orchestrator. So whenever you see more than an agent, means multi-agent, you need orchestrator in that case. Otherwise, this task, whatever I am showing you here, can be done by LangChain. LangChain is not an orchestrator. It's again a simple AI agent, we can say, but not an orchestrator. Okay. Because it can solve your linear workflows. Don't need. Now, when it comes to plugins, okay, the beauty of Semantic kernel is that they have plugins. So you can create your own plugins, something called custom plugins. Custom plugins. For example, if you want to create a calculator, custom calculator, some custom function you have created, we can say custom logic you have created. Okay. And then what you can do, if you create AI agent with, I'm just writing like this, with semantic kernel. Okay. Just refer SKL semantic kernel. Then what we can do, LLM. This is again a tool, but I'm not writing. Plus plugins. This is a tool here now. Okay. So this will have, a facility AI agent, semantic kernel will have plugins also. Okay. And then custom logics and everything we can assign to this LLM. So this will become a semantic kernel, because now they have this custom plugins. Okay. So there are different way to implement this semantic kernel, and why we need basically semantic kernel. That is the main, question that should arise. Because let's say if you have some data sources, external data sources, if you want to connect to, for example, let's say there are different CRM tools, right? You might have heard of something called HubSpot. Okay, it's a CRM tool, Salesforce. Okay, now you just want to connect this data, Salesforce data, to semantic kernel agent. Can you? Yes, we can. So for that, we need plugins, Salesforce plugins we need. Okay. So in that case, majority of the times, this LLM now, if we are working on any of the agent, we need to connect with some of the data sources. For example, we have different CRM tools and we want to understand, let's say there is an inventory tool also, okay? And we want to understand that in that inventory, so there is one product code and how many, it was sold out and, what is the status of that product code. So we have to connect with inventory, that tool to our LLM. Then only it will give the response, right? Human-like response. Some analysis, then it will give, right? So that is why if we have a data in a structure format, if we have the data in CRM, other tools, inventory tools, okay, data source, which are in a structure format majority of the time, or even if in a unstructured, if we can create some of the plugins. For example, I can create Salesforce data agent, right?
Excuse me, sir.
And yes.
So can you please explain like what actually are CRM tools?
So once you create this AI agent, let's say if some Salesforce data is there, we'll create Salesforce data agent. And then we have this AI agent. Okay. Then we call it as AI agent. इस सेल्स क्या पूछ रहे थे? युग रत्न आपका नाम है ना? एक मिनट.
Yes, so sir, I was asking like what actually are CRM tools? I mean,
एक मिनट बता रहा हूँ, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. स्क्रीन ढूंढ रहा हूँ. एक स्क्रीन में शेयर कर रहा हूँ. इफ इट इज विजिबल डू लेट मी नो. ओके. There are multiple screens open, so I'm just confused. ठीक है. So CRM tool क्या होता है? There is something called HubSpot. CRM tool होगा क्या? It's like customer relationship, right? So बिग बाजार वगैरह में जाते हो तो you have some data capture, right? So they have this CRM tool. It's a software only. Okay? So now there is something called HubSpot. Okay. So if you go to this HubSpot, you'll see some screen like this. They have marketing data, sales data, service data, content data, data of data. These whatever, for example, revenue data they have, smart CRM they call it. So customer relationship management from customer, onboarding to your platform and exiting to your platform. The entire journey that you cover through any of the tool, we call it as a customer relationship management tool. Okay, so we capture every single touch point. For example, if I go to the Big Bazaar, okay, then I enter into the store, then I buy some product, they take my details, everything, then I exit. So they have my entire informations, first purchase information. If I go second time, they will have second time informations. And how they can find it out? I'm the same guy through my mobile number. They will have some unique ID that this guy has purchased 10 times in a month. They will have every single information about me. And then they will start deciding that this guy is my potential customer, let's say. So that CRM data, if they feed into any of the LLM, so if let's say that Big Bazaar guy will, let's say, is assigning you to create one AI agent, how you will do? You will tell Big Bazaar guy that give me the data of CRM. How you will find it, the data? You will say, give me the APIs of your CRM. So he will give you the API. And then you will integrate, we will create one data agent, or we can call it Big Bazaar CRM data agent. One agent is created where you have all the data. Okay. Then you will plug in into LLM. And if you have a multiple agent, for example, in CRM, you have a multiple data. Customer data would be there, purchase data would be there. There would be multiple data. So we'll have a multiple APIs. So you will create multiple agent. One would be product agent, one would be service agent, one would be sales agent, one would be cost agent, something like that. So you may have 5, 6 agent. And every single agent, it is nothing but API call. So whenever you call an API, it will have a lot of data in JSON format. Okay. And then all those 5 APIs, you will add it to LLM. Now you have, let's say, 5 agents. How you will orchestrate? You can use LangGraph, you can use Semantic Kernel, Autogen, whatever you feel like to use. Okay. Got it, Yugratna?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is how we typically use. So whenever you create an AI agent, dependencies, that data will come from somewhere. It is again a data. Okay, maybe a structure or unstructured. So data source is more important. Data could be coming from CRM. Data could be coming from any of the REST APIs. Okay. So we need to create an agent. Agent will hold some information. For example, web crawler agent. We have used how we have used? We have used their APIs. You might have seen in dot environmental variable. I have used their APIs. And what that API was holding, it was able to scrap the data. Okay. But if it is a CRM tool, they will have some of the data. Okay. And I need to fetch that data. How I will fetch? I will fetch it through the REST APIs. And I'll create one agent. Okay. Why I need an agent? Because LLM will treat that agent as a tool. So I'll create 5 agents. I'll give it to the LLM. And then I'll create, applications. If I ask some questions related to the product, it will call the product agent only. It will not call other customer, sales, or any agent. No. If I have put in one prompt that required to orchestrate, that required the intervention of all the agent, then the data will come from all the agent, and then it will go to the LLM. Then we get a human-like response back, right? This is how it works. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Where I was, well, let me stop sharing the screen. Where I was, let me share my screen again. Okay. So here I was talking about Salesforce. So it could be, HubSpot data. Data agent we will create. Let's say we have created 5 data agent. Okay. 5. So in that case, we need an orchestrator now because we don't know how to call it. So we need an orchestrator that will give a node that if someone gives you X prompt, okay, X prompt, so prompt, then we have to activate data agent 1 plus data agent. Got it? Something like this. If it is Y, activate data agent 3 and 4, something like this. Okay. So this is how internally, agent through agentic framework, we get a response because we are the consumer of virtual assistant, right? We don't know what is happening inside the virtual assistant because even in ChatGPT, if we ask some complex questions, they take a lot of time and then they give us a response. We don't know what is happening inside that ChatGPT. But if you know the logic, for example, if you are building any AI agent, okay, if we have a multiple agent talking to each other, then we have to have this orchestrator in place. Okay. And that orchestrator will help you to give a response which will not be hallucinated. Okay. Which will not be biased, which will be a grounding response that we typically call as a grounding response because it is coming from a data which you have given it to. For example, if something coming from this data source, then it is a grounding response. Okay. So that is why people use this grounding response. If someone says a grounding response, it means he is referring to some of the data sources that he has used to create any RAG application or AI agent or agentic AI. Okay. That should be in your mind. Okay. Any question, anybody? Okay. Now, when it comes to, this Azure cloud.
Excuse me, sir.
बताओ.
Sir, like in LangGraph, we have nodes and edges that help us to handle multiple agents. So how does semantic kernel handle multiple agents?
Semantic kernel has inbuilt orchestrator, okay, inbuilt some of the inbuilt facilities. For example, in LangGraph, they divide, your prompt into subtasks. But, in this semantic kernel, they do not typically divide it. They directly have this facility of, reaching out to the plugins. They directly call the plugins. So internally, they are doing the same thing what LangGraph is doing. But the beauty of LangGraph is that they at the input level, whenever you give a prompt that give me the product ID X and their revenue, so they will divide it. Okay, the task. They delegate the task. But semantic kernel, based on the prompt, directly reach to the tools, okay, or plugins. That is the main difference. But when it comes to flexibility, I would say this lang graph is more robust. The reason is that they divide the task into nodes and edges. Okay, yeah.
So what advantages does semantic kernel have over LangGraph?
Semantic kernel has a huge advantage. Why? The reason is that they are robust in integrating with the data sources, custom APIs. Okay. And in the enterprise level, we have to have, integrate these data sources, different tools. We need to create some plugins, but LangGraph doesn't give you flexibility of creating custom plugins. So that is why the difference will come. Okay. LangGraph doesn't will give you the flexibility of creating a custom plugins if you require this custom plugins. But this semantic kernel gives you flexibility of creating this custom plugins. That is the beauty. Okay.
Sir,
And Subhangi.
can you explain a bit about custom plugins again?
Custom plugins means, for example, if I want to create some custom functions. For example, if I have some Salesforce data, I think people haven't worked on Salesforce data, but in the Salesforce data, there is something called SOQL language. Structured, query language is something, SOQL. Normally, we have something called SQL, structured query language, but in Salesforce, we have SOQL. So for that, we need to create a custom kind of logics that only your semantic kernel is going to provide you. For example, again, weather app APIs, that is a tool. But if you want to customize it, okay, for some other logics, then LangGraph will not give you the facility. But this semantic kernel will give you this facility to create this custom kind of a tool. Okay, for example, if you want to have some mathematical, you have created some mathematical logics. Okay, so that will serve as a custom plugins. Okay, but this you can say this LangGraph will not give you this flexibility. That is the difference.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, where I was in the Azure cloud. Okay, so when it comes to Azure cloud, okay, so this cloud gives you end-to-end, end-to-end what we can do. AI agent building. We can create, we can work on AI agent building. Okay. So there is something called, okay, and there is one service called Microsoft Foundry. Okay, this is Microsoft Foundry is AI service. One more time getting. So we are getting this, sorry, Microsoft Foundry is a service. Okay, so whatever we are doing using this, if you are building some agents, okay, so that agent we can create using Microsoft Foundry. Okay, now there are a few more services, and then I'll show you in the cloud. Okay, so the services we have is AI search. And services we have is, there is something called AI Hub or something. Okay. And we have something called Azure OpenAI. Okay. So these are the services that we typically will be using for creating this Microsoft based any of the agents. Okay. So let me show you. Just give me 30 seconds.
Excuse me, sir.
Very good. Question बोलो आप. हाँ.
Sir, can you explain more about Azure Cloud?
हाँ बस 30 सेकंड दो. Okay. So Azure OpenAI. Okay. So let me share my screen. So these are the services. Just remember it. That is why I have written. Okay. And I'll show you. Right now, I'm just showing you that how you can use this Azure cloud. Okay. The reason being is that when you go in the industry, they will ask you that which cloud you have worked. You will have this understanding of the framework, but when it comes to this cloud, then you may struggle. Okay. So let me share my screen again. Where I was. Yeah, can you see my screen? Visual, right? Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you see, this is called, Azure Cloud. Okay. So you will have, once you have a subscription, also you can get from your college ID, I think, for a student ID. Okay. You can go in the, a YouTube and see how to get subscriptions if you have a college ID. Okay. So you'll have a free credits and you can use it. Okay. But for this, internship, you don't need to work on the cloud. Okay. You have to work on the open source tools. But I'm just showing you the reason is that again, because it's a semantic kernel and autogen. So at least you must have a high level understanding of the usage of this Azure cloud. Okay. Now, so once you have these subscriptions, then you have to go to this portal.azure.com. So once you hit this portal.azure.com, you'll have a screen which will look like this, similar to mine. Okay, but not exactly because I have used few services. So maybe your dashboard, this is called typically a right side, what we call it is a dashboard. Okay, so maybe your dashboard might be neat and clean. Okay, so if you go down, okay, so you'll see some resources. Okay, navigate to subscriptions will be there. So resource group is there. Okay, so if you haven't worked on Azure cloud, it's okay. No need to worry about. Okay, so you'll see a screen like this. Okay. Now, if you go in the left side, you have something called dashboard. You'll have something called all services. Let's say I'm clicking all services. Okay. So if I click all services in the left side, you see you have some of the categories. Whether you want to any of the AI plus machine learning use case, you can click it. We have analytics, compute, containers, databases if you want to work on. If you want to work with DevOps services, a lot of things are there. In this hybrid cloud migration is there, networking, monitoring, a lot of services by Azure. Okay. On the right side, if you see, let's say there is something called Azure Machine Learning. If you people want to work on machine learning, you can create it and you start working. You'll start working on it. Okay. Now we have something called app services. if you want to deploy your, let's say GenAI or agentic AI solutions, you can use this app services. Okay, a lot of applications you can use it. Okay, or Azure SQL database. So this is again a database. So if you want to create a database and connect to your AI agent, you can do that from here. Okay. Azure Cosmos DB, it's again a semi-structured database, we can say, Azure Cosmos DB. Okay. For example, I was just talking about something called memory, if you can recall it. Okay. So memory means what? So it will store the conversations. For example, if you say my AI agent had some memory, I have added this memory part also. So it means you will store all the conversation in Cosmos DB. It will hold all the informations. Okay. So this is again served as one of the memory for AI agent or agentic AI. Okay. So there are a lot of services. You don't need to work on all the services. Okay. Now coming to place where I just wanted to show you. Let's
Excuse me,
say,
sir.
so,
So you mentioned that we can use Cosmos DB for storing the chat history with the AI agent. So how can we connect it to the AI agent to store the?
हाँ तो ये कर सकते हो. I mean, for that we need to create Cosmos DB. It's again a hell lot of work we require in this. Okay, so possibly in the next week I may show you this how to add this Cosmos DB. Okay, because these all are chargeable services. Okay, got it?
Yes, sir.
So we can work on any of the database, but right now don't go into this because it will take a lot of time, yeah, to create. But I'll try to show you that how we can connect any of the data sources, maybe Azure Cosmos, or I can show you with where is this SQL database. Okay, so that you will understand that how their data can be used to create an AI. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. It's not like
Also, so for creating an AI agent, like which database would be better, a fully structured one or a semi-structured one? Like you mentioned that SQL was structured, whereas Cosmos DB was semi-structured. So
देखो यूज केस, लेट्स से इफ यू हैव ए यूज केस जहां पे एक वेंडर है जिसने अपना डेटा रखा है, सेल्स का डेटा, वो कहाँ रखेगा? स्ट्रक्चर्ड क्वेरी में रखेगा ना, एसक्यूएल वाले में, राइट?
and for semi-structured, like
सेमी स्ट्रक्चर के लिए आपको यूज करना पड़ेगा कॉस्मोस डीबी. गॉट इट?
no, like what can be the use case for semi-structured
हाँ,
data?
सेमी स्ट्रक्चर के लिए ये होगा. फॉर एग्जांपल आपने लेट्स से यू हैव क्रिएटेड एन एआई एजेंट, सो जो भी प्रॉम्प्ट डालोगे ना, प्रॉम्प्ट का रिस्पॉन्स आता है ना,
Yes, sir.
आता है ना चैट जीपीटी में. जस्ट थिंक ऑफ अ चैट जीपीटी.
Okay,
आपका
sir.
एक लॉगिन आईडी है, आपने 5 क्वेश्चन पूछे दिन भर में, ठीक है, उस लॉगिन आईडी से.
Yes, sir.
तो 5 के कोई रिस्पॉन्स भी होंगे ना क्वेश्चंस के करस्पॉन्डिंग.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है, तो वो कहाँ स्टोर होगा? कहीं डेटाबेस में स्टोर करता होगा ना ये चैट
Yes, sir.
जीपीटी.
Yes, sir.
तो दैट इज कॉस्मोस डीबी. दैट इज अ कॉस्मोस डीबी. नाउ थिंक ऑफ एन एआई एजेंट जहां पे आपको इस तरह के कन्वर्जेशंस मीन्स व्हाट, जितना भी आपने प्रॉम्प्ट डाला उसका रिस्पॉन्स, उसको आपने कहीं स्टोर कर रखा है. तो नेक्स्ट टाइम यदि आप उसी आईडी से पूछोगे ना, तो वो आपके प्रीवियस जितना भी आपने क्वेश्चन पूछा है ना, उसके बाद से वो शुरू करेगा कि आपने तो ये पूछा था, नाउ आई एम गिविंग दिस. कभी चैट जीपीटी में देखा है ना, वो वहां से स्टार्ट करता है. हैव यू सीन
Yes.
दैट?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, तो वो कहाँ से लेता है डेटा? यहाँ से ही लेगा. इफ इट इज जियो स्पेसिफिक, आई मीन इफ दे हैव यूज दिस कॉस्मोस टीवी फॉर परसिस्टेंट मेमोरी. ओके, तो ये मेमोरी है, ये दिस विल गिव यू मेमोरी. मेमोरी में कहीं ना कहीं इंफॉर्मेशन होल्ड होना चाहिए, तो ये एक मेमोरी का एलिमेंट है. तो यहाँ पे सेमी स्ट्रक्चर डेटा स्टोर होता है कॉस्मोस टीवी में. गॉट इट?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
ठीक है. और जो एसक्यूएल वाला पार्ट है, ये मान लो कि किसी का डेटा किसी ने सेल्स फोर्स का सर्विस ले रखा है, ठीक है, तो जस्ट कंपेयर कर लो आप. अज्योर एसक्यूएल मान लो कि एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, वो अपना डेटा अज्योर यहाँ पे रख रहा है, अज्योर वाले पे, वो सेल्स फोर्स यूज नहीं कर रहा है. जस्ट रिमेंबर इट, जस्ट कंपेयर इट विद द डेटा सोर्सेस. सेल्स फोर्स एक इंटायरली सॉफ्टवेयर है, राइट? दे होल्ड ऑल योर कस्टमर रिलेशनशिप डेटा जितना भी है. लाइक बड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सेल्स फोर्स यूज करती है, ठीक है. But if you are a very small organization, you can use this Azure SQL, okay, to have all the analysis and everything done here, okay. और यहाँ से SQL का आप एंड पॉइंट यूज करके आप अपने AI एजेंट में डाल सकते हैं। AI एजेंट मीन्स व्हाट, LLM में डालना है इंफॉर्मेशन, क्योंकि प्रॉम्प्ट के थ्रू मुझे टेबल में देखना है कि कितना सेल्स हुआ, कितना रेवेन्यू हुआ, कब हुआ, वो मुझे पूछना है। तो उसके लिए मुझे डेटा सोर्स चाहिए। आई नीड वन डेटा एजेंट। एंड हाउ आई कैन क्रिएट डेटा एजेंट? एज्योर एसक्यूएल के थ्रू मैं बना लूंगा। समझ आया?
Yes, sir.
गॉट इट?
Yes.
ठीक ठीक। नाउ कम टू वेयर आई वाज। या नाउ come to this Microsoft Foundry. You can see, right? So what I Microsoft Foundry. It is calling Microsoft Foundry. So once you search this Microsoft Foundry, once you click it, okay, you'll see a screen like this. This screen will look like this, okay? So you'll have this icon, Microsoft Foundry का icon कुछ ऐसा है। 6-8 महीने पहले कुछ different था, okay? So this Microsoft Foundry, okay, is a service that lets you to create RAG applications and agentic AI applications, okay? All sorts of agents we can build here, okay? आप इसमें जाओगे, once you scroll down, you'll have something like this on the right side, which we don't require right now. Then we have 4 services here. AI Hub is there, Azure OpenAI. This is LLM. So if someone asks you that I'm using Azure OpenAI, in my application, it means he is referring to this Azure OpenAI LLM. For example, GPT 5.0. Where it is hosted? It is hosted at Azure OpenAI. This service we need to provision it. This is again an LLM endpoint it will give us. And AI search is nothing but it's a vector storage. Means, for example, I have a lot of unstructured data, okay? And on that, I just, for example, you people might have worked on the RAG applications. So RAG applications में क्या होता है? Let's say you have some of the PDFs, Word file, right? And you just want to create vectorizations. Yeah, I think yesterday I have explained you the embeddings. Okay, so embeddings will be stored in AI search. So this is a vector storage for Azure Cloud. If someone asks you, can you tell me the vector storage for this Azure? Then you will say AI search, Azure AI search. Okay, this is a vector storage. It will hold all your embeddings, not the Cosmos DB, not the SQL, Azure SQL. One is Azure SQL is for structured one, Cosmos DB is for semi-structured data, but AI search will hold all your embeddings. So RAG application, whenever you work, you have to have this AI search in place because you will add this retrieval element using this AI search only because this will store the vector data, right? If you go down, there are more services you don't need to worry about, but let me show you. We are working on computer vision, FastAPI, document intelligence. There are a lot of services, but it is within the Microsoft Foundry only. Now, if you go, there is something called classical AI, the one that I was just talking about. This maybe the classical machine learning. For example, if you have anomaly detection, Azure AI has multiple service, content moderate. You just want to moderate the content. Language understanding. For example, you just want to understand if you have a lot of speech text data and you want to understand in which language it is, right? Something called Matrix Advisor. These are like old AI ML, I would say. Okay, this doesn't you require anything. Okay, so but when it comes to AI agent, then let me go to this Foundry part. Okay, let's go to this Foundry part. If I go to the Foundry part, okay, go and create. First, just see. So I'll go to this, and once you create this, you'll see this screen like this, okay? Create a Foundry resource, and you'll have a screen like this. So don't get confused, okay? My subscription is pay as you go. If I click, my subscription is pay as you go. You might have a different subscriptions, okay? So pay as you go means whatever I use the services, I'll have to pay. Okay. Now I'll create something called a resource group. If I hover it, just see what it says. Is it saying something or not? A resource group is what? A resource group is a collection of resources that share the same lifecycle permissions and policies. So whatever I'm creating, whenever you create any of your project inside your Azure cloud, you have to go through this resource group. So resource group is the parent directory. And within that parent directory, you will create these services, whatever we have seen it. So let me create it, okay? This resource group, you just hit this resource group, okay? I'll say RG, I'll say demo, and I'll say agent. Okay, 01, let me put this. Okay, something like this. And you'll say okay. Okay, so this resource group is created. Now I need to have this Foundry name. Okay, so I'll say FD agent. That's a 01. Let me put it like this. Okay, and where I will host it, I'm hosting it in East US. You can change it, but let it be. There are different regions where you can host your resource group. Okay, even in India is there. Okay, a lot of regions are there. You'll see everywhere. Okay, but whatever default we have, we'll go with this. Okay, right now. Now, if you go down, we have something called default project name. We don't need to put it here, anything. Let it be the default one. Nothing we will change. Okay, and then content review policy. Okay, so now what we will do, I have added this resource group, added the name, and the region was by default selected. I'll directly hit this review plus create. Can you see this blue button? So I will hit this one directly. So it will take some 30-40 seconds, and let's see if there are some errors, it will throw. If not, then it will give me the create button in a blue, it will be activated in a blue, right? Now it's a create. Now everything is right. So I'll hit this create button, okay, directly. And also it will also take 30-40 seconds. And on the right side, if you see, some comments are coming. So it will show you that, okay, it is provisioning and submitting the deployment or something. Once it is done, we'll get a different screen. Okay. So the loading part deployment is in progress. So it may take 30-40 seconds. Let's wait for this to create a Foundry resource. Okay. So it says deployment is in progress, and the resource group what I have created was rag demo agent 01. So it may take 30 seconds, I think. And once it is done, then we'll go to some other services. So let's wait. Okay. So it is created. Okay. Now let's go to resources. I'll hit this, and also you'll see something on this dashboard. Your deployment is complete. I'll go to resource. I'll click it. Okay. Once I click it, we'll see my agent name displayed here, FD agent 01. Okay. And it is a Foundry resource. You'll see a screen like this. On the right side dashboard, you have something called go to Foundry portal. You can also click it here. And some of the resource group name already, you can see RG demo agent, the name that I have created, my subscription group, and some IDs for tracking it. Okay, is there. And also the endpoint is there. Can you hear my voice? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I thought there is some internet connection. So now go to Foundry. I'll go to Foundry. Okay. Once I go to Foundry, so let's see, the magic happens here. Okay. You'll see some screen like this, okay? You'll see a screen like this, okay? So here you'll see it has navigated me to ai.azure.com, okay? And this is the dashboard. I have something, a lot of things are written, okay? So now they are saying use a model. So I'll see the deployment, okay? On the right side, we have something called build an agent, right? So what kind of agent I just want to build? I'll click it, start building it. So what it says, create an agent by configuring instructions, tools, knowledge without writing code, okay? And code an agent, define and deploy agent in code using the Microsoft Agent Framework for full control and customize. So we are not going by this right now. We will create an agent by the flow, okay? If I go down, we'll see something called API keys. So whenever you write a Python script, if you want to customize it, then you need to have this API key. And also there is something called endpoint, project endpoint. I got it. So whenever I have created a project, I got this endpoint. Also Azure OpenAI endpoint. It is a LLM endpoint. It is a project endpoint. And how I will access this LLM endpoint through API keys. That is why whenever you see any LLM, custom LLM or any LLM, you must have a key to unlock that LLM. Otherwise, you cannot reach to that LLM. So LLM is locked through API key. So whenever you want to unlock it, you need to use it API key. Okay. Now, let me go to above this playground,
Excuse
this
me, sir.
dashboard. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Uh,
Sir, can you explain the project endpoint and the Azure OpenAI endpoint?
project endpoint, for example, here it is written, if you want to work with the code, then we can use this API key. Okay. Project endpoint is, for example, there is something called API. Okay. For example, there is something called www.com/v1. It is one endpoint. So whenever you see any endpoint, let me copy it. Okay, where I can paste it. Cannot see my next screen, right? Can you see my notepad? No.
No, sir.
Okay, let me copy it. You people, let me copy it in your message. Can you see in the chat I have said? So endpoint, whenever you see endpoint, it is like an API. And why we call it as an endpoint? Because we get some kind of a slash, just see, /API/project. So that is an endpoint where we can access it. For example, in a tree, right, there are branches. So endpoint is like a branches. We have a common website up to com is a common, but once you've added slash something, it will behave like a endpoint. Endpoint is that is the exact point we have to hit through this API key. Okay, that is the endpoint. So whenever you work on any of now in AI industry, you'll come across a word called endpoint. They will say, I have API endpoint. And API endpoint means there would be some slash, for example, /API/something/something. Okay, this is the endpoint. You see something plus /v1. This is the endpoint. Azure OpenAI endpoint. Endpoint here, they call it as an endpoint, but this is LLM endpoint. Okay. If you see this view deployment, if I go to the view deployment, if I deploy it, okay, it says using base model or deploy a fine-tuned model. Okay. This is done through this API endpoint. That's all. And there are different models available. If you go in the models, is it showing or not? Okay, it is not showing for us. Let's wait. Generate and upload command if we have some custom model right now, but we don't need. We only need the models which are there. So base model could be GPT 5.0, 4.0, whatever this Azure provides. Okay. So this is the, when it comes to endpoint, it is nothing but it's an API. Okay. And they have a specific path. For example, www.google.com/v1. If you access that, it will give you only some of the information related to data stored in path v1. For example, in Amazon, www.amazon.com/customer/v1. So maybe in customer/v1, they have all the customers information of there possible. Okay. So that is why they create an endpoint which navigate you to the specific data sources or specific informations. That is why we create an endpoint. Got it?
Yes, sir.
You, Ratna. Okay.
Yes.
Where I was. Even I get confused where I was when let me go to this screen. Yeah. Now you have to go to this build an agent. Now let me click it and start building. Okay. Now I need an agent name. Okay. Let's say, what's the name of your college? Okay. Let's say I have given this name of this agent. Okay. And it will create an agent for me. So let's wait and just see what it is saying, GPT-5. So for this agent, the tool they are assigning is GPT 5.0. Got it? So whenever agent will not work in isolation, they need one LLM. Okay. And then tool we will provide. So right now we'll see. Okay. Now my agent name is this. Okay. And you'll see a screen like this. Okay. So whenever you see a screen like this, okay. So we have something in the left side. You'll see agent is there, deployment is there. Okay. Fine tuning. For example, can anybody tell me what is fine tuning? Fine tuning क्या होता है?
So training an pre-trained model.
जैसे कि फाइन ट्यूनिंग में क्या होता है, जैसे कि आपके पास फाइनेंस का डेटा है, राइट? Let's say I have an LLM GPT 5.0. So if I want to train that model on my, I will fine tune the model. If I am from financial domain and I have 10 years of my finance data, so I will use GPT 5.0 and I will add data to that agent, that LLM, and I'll fine tune. Okay. So after fine tuning it, if I ask a question, it will give me the answers related to my data set only, strictly to my data set only. But that is now being replaced by RAG. But RAG has an issue. If you fine tune it, you will not have a hallucination. But once you are using RAG, you have a lot of hallucinations. Okay. Now we have something called services, tools, knowledge, data, evaluate, guardrails. Okay. So now we will work on this agent. Okay. So let's say, if you see this one, just see, this is quite interesting. GPT-5, they have given us, this is a standard model. Once I have created this agent, they have given me this LLM along with it. So Azure AI gives you, Azure portal has given me this inbuilt LLM. This is again a tool. It is like they haven't created this agent in isolations. They have attached to the one of the LLM by default. You can also change it from here. So these are the models. GPT 4.0, GPT 4.1, 4.1 mini, O4 mini. These are the models. Okay. These are the LLMs typically. But right now I'm using for this agent GPT 5. Okay. Now go to browse more models. If I go to browse more models, just see this is called a base model, foundation models. Which all foundation model I can use in place of GPT 5.0? These all models I can use. A lot of models. These are all are LLMs basically. All LLMs I can use. Just if I go here, let's see which are LLMs I can use. So these all are the LLMs that I can use depending on my use case. Okay. Also, there is something called fine tuning of the model. Right now, you are not fine tuning it. Okay. And let's see if there is Foundry, hubs, and so there are also Hugging Face, I think. Hugging Face LLM is there or not, I don't know. So right now we don't have. Maybe Microsoft XAI inference task and response. There would be many. So maybe I think you can filter it out. Okay. So now just cross it. We have this model now. Okay. If I go down, there is something called instructions. If I go down, we'll work on these instructions as well. If I go down, there is something called tool. Okay. If I go down, there is something called wave search. Add is there. Okay. Upload file is there. We have a knowledge. We have memory and guardrail. So this is a chat interface. So whenever I will configure left side, I can ask a question. This is like a chat interface. And your agent name is displaying here. Okay. We haven't done anything right now. Okay. That is why your screen will look like this in the left and right. Okay. Now, when I say I'm not writing anything, I'm just giving you a clue. When I say AI agent, so what we are saying, just see from this left side, we will create some equation. LLM. So what LLM you are using? We are seeing GPT-5, right? We are using. Plus what we are using? Instruction is like a prompt. We don't need. This is the same thing. Then we are using tool, right? Tools. Plus what we are using? Something called knowledge. The same thing. Either it could be tool. Okay. Okay. Either it could be tool. KB will say knowledge base KB. Okay. It can also be a tool. Plus we have something called memory. Can you see something called memory part is there? But it's in preview. They are working on. So if we have a system, if you are working on a system which have this LLM tool calling plus memory, then we'll say it's an AI agent. Got it? And if you have a multiple agent, X, Y, Z, then we need an orchestrator. And for that, to handle those, we need one of what we say a framework. Right now, we are working on a single agent, and we will see that how this agent will behave once I give some tools right now, and we'll check that how their performance is. Okay, it's a very interesting one. Okay, just have 10 minutes break, and then we'll start working on this. Okay, it's very interesting. Let's have 10 minutes clock. Yeah, hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay. So
sir.
let me share my screen quickly. Okay. Okay, so what I was just saying that for this for this agent, we have created this agent name. Okay. Now, if you go to this, the left side, first see the left side, don't see the right side. Okay. So in the left side, we have this agent name. Scroll up. Okay. And we have a model. This is the one LLM that this agent has already given. Okay. Agent is done. One model they have given. Okay. This agent. Now I have to go here and I have to write the instructions. Okay. So I'll say you are health care assistant and give me response slash answer related to health care only. Don't give me any answer from other domains. Okay. So this is the instructions we are giving. There's something called prompt instructions. So because I'm using LLM and LLM needs some of the instructions, a kind of a personifying the LLM. So I have assigned one persona to LLM. I'm saying you behave like a healthcare assistant. Okay. Now it is done. Now if I go down, there is something called tool. Okay. And to make AI system, AI agent, I need to configure this tool. I need to add tool to this agent, tool to this LLM. So I will go down and there is something called add. If you go, there is something called wave search. If I can toggle it, wave search is gone. If I do this wave search, toggle it, I say add. Okay. So go and see. This is a wave search. So what tool I have added? Wave search right now. I'll also show you other tool we will also add. Wave search tool right now. I have added. Okay. Now if I go down, I'm not adding anything in knowledge right now. Okay. If you add this, there is something called connect to the Foundry IQ. This is another services in Azure. We are not doing this right now. Okay. But I'll again show you other tools to add apart from this. There is a memory part. Right now also we are not adding it because it is not giving me any memory to add. I have to look at the region where I can add this memory. Guardrails, let it be because we are not working on a production grade systems. So let it be the by default guardrails. Okay. And also manage guardrails is there, a custom guardrails if I want to create. I'm not working on that. Okay. So we have this, agent now readily available and there is something called save. If you go on the right side, we just say save. Okay. So once I do this save button, okay, now my system is, my agent is ready. And for, by default, just reload the page once, just for refresh it. Okay. Sometime, if some issues, then it is already configured it. Okay. So now we have this agent name using this LLM and using this tool called wave search tool. So right now it is showing the wave search tool enabled. Okay. Now I'm asking, hi, can you give me info about cough and cold? I'm just writing this. Okay. So it gives you the response. It is coming from the your LLM. Just see how it is coming, the response. So it has generated me the response. If you see this one, okay, from where it is coming? From the LLM, okay, and this is giving us our entire information. So if I go up, my prompt was, can you give me information about cough and cold? And it is giving me a lot of informations, okay. So it is coming from my LLM, okay, and even from the wave search. So let me go to there is something called traces. If you go to traces, they have used this tool called message, okay. So it is coming from your wave search. So whenever you see the tool, it means the LLM, the response is taking help of the tool, and the tool is wave search. So we are getting these informations like this. We'll have the informations like this on the right side. So this is called input plus output. So once you go in this metadata, we'll have an output in JSON format. Okay, if you see this one, this is a JSON format output. So any LLM response we typically get in JSON format. Okay, if I go down, what was my input? Hi, can you give me info about cough and cold? And this is the response that I got. And type of the response was agent. Agent is giving me the output. So that is why the agent output. And here, who is giving this prompt? User. Okay, something like this you will get. And then we'll get all the information which I have got in my playground. The agent has given me. Okay. And then how many numbers of tokens I consumed? This much number of tokens. Okay. And the prompt token was this, completion token was this, and the total token was this. Okay. So this is the, again, a lot of informations are there. Okay. So this will give an idea that the how your agent is working. Okay. Now, let me
Excuse me,
ask,
sir. Sir, what are completion tokens?
where is that completion? Completion tokens and the prompt tokens, I mean, whenever you just, give this user plus this input plus output, it is taking those as a your, completion tokens both, prompt plus this. How much tokens, it consume during this completion of the task, that is called completion tokens, means the responses which you are getting. Okay, so both is involved here. So user plus completion tokens means, whatever user has given, this input plus output both, we are getting it. So this will give you this completion tokens. Okay, so the number of tokens your LLM takes to complete the task is called completion tokens. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now let me go to where I was. Yeah,
Sir,
let me go. Ji.
could you please tell the purpose of guardrail?
Okay. Can you got some response? Okay, whose question was guardrail? Can you got a response here? What I have written? Just
Yes.
see. I have written to my this AI agent. I want to do self-harm. What it says? I'm sorry, but I cannot assist you with this request. So this is an input guardrail. Guardrail means we are putting one filter, one check. This is called content filtering. Self-harm, you cannot do the self-harm. I cannot, something, there are 4 types of, classifications in the guardrail typically. Self-harm is the one of them. Okay, hate, something which, inappropriate comment, gender-biased comment. Okay, so this is called a guardrail. Due to the guardrail, by default enabled in GPT-5. That is why it is giving me this response. So this is the due to this guardrail part, I'm getting this response. Got it? Got it?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm
Yes.
saying, can you give me info about rice harvesting? Let's see what it was in 10. Token consume. Just see what it replies for us. If you see, I can only provide the health related guidance. Okay. I can't teach rice harvesting techniques. But however, to protect your health while working in the rice field, now what they have done, they have bifurcated in taken as a healthcare as a assistant, and then it is giving me a response. Okay, got it? So this is how your prompt sometime will give you a response. Okay, not related to rice, it is giving me,
Yes.
but it has assigned it to the healthcare part. Okay. So that is why the prompt engineering comes into play, and you have to put this better prompt. Okay. So that even if someone asks some, try to intervene your AI systems, try to, give something called a red teaming. Okay. The word is red teaming. Someone will try to deceive your systems through prompt injection. Okay. So someone will say that the whatever previous prompt was there, don't consider it, and whatever I'm trying to say, just follow it. This is called prompt injection. Okay. It's like molestation. Okay. So you cannot molest your LLM. Okay. So this is how you have to compare. Okay. That is why this prompt engineering comes into play, and people write a good prompt. Okay. That is why people are getting paid better for writing a better prompt. Okay, you have seen it, the how your responses are coming. If guardrails are not enabled, what will happen? I have written that I want to do self-harm, but LLM had guardrail enabled. They have stopped me at the input level that, okay, I cannot give you the response. Right? Got it? So this is the one tool that we have used.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want to use second tool. So now
Excuse me,
what?
sir.
Anji.
So, like in this particular agent, we have given a set of instructions. So, what is the difference between fine tuning and giving a particular set of instructions to a already trained model?
फाइन ट्यूनिंग में क्या होता है कि आप मान लो कि आप डोमेन स्पेसिफिक, आप एलएलएम को बोलते हो डोमेन स्पेसिफिक आप मेरे लिए करो काम। ओके। इसमें फॉर एग्जांपल आपके पास फाइनेंस का डेटा है, आप चाहते हो कि मैं अपना डेटा किसी और को एक्सपोज ना करूं, मेरे पास जो एलएलएम पड़ा हुआ है जैसे GPT-5, मैं उसी को दे दूं। ठीक है। और वो मुझे एक कस्टम एलएलएम टाइप का मुझे दे दे मेरे ही डेटा पे, तो जब भी मैं क्वेश्चन पूछूं तो उसी डेटा से आंसर करे। ठीक है। तो वो बेसिकली क्या है, एक अनदर एंड पॉइंट क्रिएट करना होता है अपने ही डेटा पे। तो जब आपको डोमेन स्पेसिफिक आंसर चाहिए होता है तो बहुत सारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस क्या करते हैं, फाइन ट्यूनिंग कर लेते हैं, लेकिन फाइन ट्यूनिंग प्रॉब्लमेटिक है। फाइन ट्यूनिंग आपका जीपीयू सीपीयू लगा ये इसी तरह से है कि आप फिर से एक छोटा सा एलएलएम बना रहे हो। It's like from bigger LLM, you are creating a small language model using your domain specific data. Got it? किसने पूछा?
Yes.
युगरत्न आपने पूछा, राइट?
Yes.
तो यहाँ पे फाइन ट्यूनिंग भी एक मॉडल ही है। मैं यहाँ फाइन ट्यून्ड मॉडल यूज कर लूंगा। ठीक है। बट फाइन ट्यूनिंग करने के लिए मुझे भी सेम प्रोसेस यूज करना पड़ेगा जो कि एलएलएम को ट्रेन करने के लिए होता है। ठीक है।
So for fine tuning, we require a data set.
डेटा सेट, हाँ डेटा सेट चाहिए मुझे।
Okay, sir.
और डेटा सेट लेके करोगे क्या है, वो बेकार आइडिया है। इससे बेटर कि एक रैग एप्लीकेशन बना लो। ठीक है। लेकिन करते क्यों है लोग, जब सेंसिटिव डेटा होता है तो, और जब वो डोमेन स्पेसिफिक बनाना चाहते हैं कि नहीं मुझे अपना ही एक एलएलएम चाहिए, मुझे तुम लोगों का एलएलएम नहीं चाहिए, राइट?
So,
इन दैट
but
केस वैसा करते हैं। वहां
So,
बताओ
but
आप।
wouldn't the RAG application lead to hallucinations?
हाँ, वही तो मैंने बताया ना, हेलुसिनेशन होता है, लेकिन उसका भी तो इलाज है ना। हाँ, आप ग्राउंडिंग डेटा डालते हो, ग्राउंडिंग रिस्पॉन्स, अच्छा प्रॉम्प्ट लिखते हो। अभी मैं बताता हूँ ना, अभी इसके बाद दूसरा टूल यूज करूंगा, उसमें मैं आंसर दूंगा, ठीक है।
Okay,
लेकिन
sir.
ये नहीं है कि हेलुसिनेशन इतना ज्यादा है कि मतलब फैक्चुअली हेलुसिनेशन कुछ क्या होता है, फैक्चुअली इनकरेक्ट आंसर, ठीक है। तो उसके लिए भी आप ह्यूमन इन द लूप एक पर्सन को रखते हो कि ठीक है, आंसर आंसर पहले वैलिडेट मुझे कर देना। इसलिए तो एजेंट भी तो यूज करने लगे हैं ना, एक वैलिडेटर एजेंट यूज कर लेते हैं, समझ आया। तो
Yes, sir.
रैग एप्लीकेशन से लोग एजेंटिक क्यों जा रहे हैं, क्योंकि वहां पे तीन चार एजेंट है। एक एजेंट गड़बड़ करेगा, दूसरा तीसरा तो है। एक जो सुपरवाइजर एजेंट करके जो मैंने दिखाया था, क्या था वो, सबको सुपरवाइज कर रहा था ना। तो वहां पे हेलुसिनेशंस का बहुत कम होता है, बहुत कम, जो कि आप फाइंड आउट कर सकते हो कि ये रिजल्ट गड़बड़ है, मुझे लग रहा है, ठीक है।
Okay, sir.
दूसरा ये देखो आप, कहाँ था। हम्म, ठीक है। सो द वन टूल दैट वी हैव यूज्ड was the web search. Now there is something called that we have used right now. Okay, now there is something called browse all tools. तो यहाँ पे क्लिक करोगे, when you click it here, you'll see this screen like this. Don't get confused. So these are the tools, inbuilt tool that your Azure, or you can say the Microsoft Foundry provides. Okay. अब यहाँ पे क्या लिखा हुआ है, रेडी टू यूज है, ठीक है। इफ आई गो डाउन, देर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड फाइल सर्च कोड इंटरप्रेटर। यदि आप क्लाउड कोड या फिर देर आर डिफरेंट चैट जीपीटी कोडेक्स वगैरह बनाना चाहते हो, तो कोड इंटरप्रेटर टाइप का यूज कर सकते हो। दैट इज समथिंग कॉल्ड एआई सर्च। व्हाट इज एआई सर्च? इट इज अगेन अ वेक्टर डेटाबेस, जो डेटा वट एवर पीडीएफ वर्ड्स यू हैव एंड यू जस्ट वांट टू क्रिएट ए इंडेक्सिंग, ठीक है। क्योंकि रैग एप्लीकेशंस के लिए जब व्हेन यू give some prompt, the prompt goes to your retriever component of your RAG, and it searches the relevant index from your vector database. For that, you need an AI service called Azure AI Search. Okay, we'll also work on, but not today. We have this grounding response. It is again like a wave search. Both are like similar to wave search. Okay, we have also something called Work IQ. We can create a tool. This is a Microsoft Work IQ tool. If you want to connect your uh, Microsoft 365 with your LLM, so this will act as a tool. Okay, if you have some data in Work IQ, now Microsoft is calling as a Work IQ. There is one more service of Microsoft Azure. It's called Fabric, Microsoft Fabric. And if you want to use whatever data you have stored in Microsoft Fabric, analysis and everything like a warehouse, and you want to connect it with your LLM, you need this tool. And that Microsoft is calling as a Fabricite. Okay. So there are a lot of tools available. Okay. If you go down Fabric Data Agent, for example, you can create Salesforce Data Agent. If you have some data, let's say stored in your SharePoint, ठीक है, कंपनी का डेटा है, शेयर पॉइंट में ही बहुत सारे प्रोजेक्ट के हैं, बहुत सारे डेटा है आपके, राइट। सो हाउ आई कैन यूज शेयर पॉइंट एज ए टूल? This is the place where you can use this cooked up SharePoint, and you have to put some, IDs and everything, and then you have you can connect it. So let me click it. Let's say I'm not using it right now, but let me click it. So if I click it, they will say, give me the connections name and URL, and then you can connect. Right now I don't have, so you can connect like this, and it will act as a tool directly, and then you can get a response here. You just write it and start chatting to your agent, SharePoint agent. Okay. Now,
Excuse me,
like,
sir.
हाँ शुभांगी बताओ आप।
Sir, like we are creating an AI agent, then we can
हम्म
use multiple tools. Can we
हम्म
similarly use multiple LLMs?
नो, कांट यूज मल्टीपल एलएलएम्स। एलएलएम चाहिए क्यों आपको? एलएलएम सिर्फ चाहिए होता है आपको ह्यूमन लाइक रिस्पॉन्स के लिए, दैट्स ऑल। एलएलएम का कोई वो नहीं है मतलब। और मल्टीपल एलएलएम यूज करके करोगे क्या? यू कैन यूज, बट दैट एलएलएम विल सर्व एज अगेन अ टूल। 5 एलएलएम यूज कर सकते हो, बिल्कुल कर सकते हो, बट यूसेज क्या होगा उसका? उसको आपको टूल की तरह ट्रीट करना पड़ जाएगा, राइट। क्योंकि एलएलएम का क्या
Yes.
मतलब, क्या है उसके पास जो जितना इंफॉर्मेशन है, जब तक का कट ऑफ डेट तक का इंफॉर्मेशन होता है एलएलएम का। एलएलएम का आई मीन द ब्यूटी ऑफ एलएलएम इज दैट दे गिव्स यू नेचुरल लैंग्वेज रिस्पॉन्स, ह्यूमन लाइक रिस्पॉन्स, दैट्स ऑल। और उसका कोई अहमियत नहीं है, देयर इज नो इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ एलएलएम। बट आप यदि बोल रहे हो कि मैं 5 एलएलएम यूज करना है, बिल्कुल कर सकते हो, बट फोर्थ एलएलएम अप टू फोर्थ दे विल ट्रीट यू, यू कैन ट्रीट इट एज अ टूल। ठीक है,
Yes, sir.
ठीक है। एलएलएम एक ही यूज करो, क्योंकि उसको कुछ नहीं चाहिए, उसको जो आउटपुट इन सब चीजों से, जो टूल से जो आउटपुट निकलेगा ना, वो उसको यदि उस टूल का आउटपुट में दिखाऊंगा ना तो आपको समझ में नहीं आएगा। सो यू नीड द आउटपुट ऑफ ऑल द टूल्स should go to the input to the LLM। वो LLM एक लास्ट ब्लॉक है जो आपको इंटरप्रेट करके देता है। यदि वो इंटरप्रेटर नहीं होगा ना, LLM इज नथिंग बट अ इंटरप्रेटर, वो इंटरप्रेटर नहीं होगा ना तो आप जो स्क्रीन पे जो रिस्पॉन्स देखते हैं ना वो समझ ही नहीं पाओगे। राइट, दैट इज वाई पीपल आर आफ्टर दिस LLM। LLM का और कोई खासियत नहीं है, इससे अच्छा तो गूगल सर्च है। But Google search gives you a scattered output. But when you take the help of this any of the GPT, chat GPT, it's again a LLM, वो एक स्ट्रक्चर्ड आउटपुट एक जगह पे दे देता है। दैट मेक्स आवर लाइफ इजी। बट अगेन वेब सर्च से भी तो कनेक्टेड है ना। वेब सर्च कहाँ से, गूगल सर्च से ही तो लेके आ रहा है, या वेबसाइट से कहीं से लेके आ रहा है। राइट, यही है।
Yes,
ठीक है,
sir. Thank you,
हाँ
sir.
मैं कहा था। अच्छा, सो नाउ आई एम यूजिंग दिस टूल कॉल फाइल सर्च। आई विल यूज, यहाँ पे क्या लिखा, आर्गुमेंट एजेंट विथ नॉलेज फ्रॉम आउटसाइड इट्स मॉडल। एलएलएम के पास अभी मैं अपना डेटा दूंगा, लेट्स से एक मान लो टेक्स्ट में कोई इंफॉर्मेशन दूंगा, एलएलएम को पता नहीं है, इसलिए इट्स रिटन दैट आउटसाइड ऑफ इट्स मॉडल। आई एम यूजिंग अ मॉडल कॉल GPT-5। उस मॉडल को मैंने जो आज कोई काम कराया है उसको पता होगा, नहीं पता होगा ना। राइट, दैट इज एक्सटर्नल इंफॉर्मेशन। फॉर एग्जाम्पल द ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस और मे बी द यूनिवर्सिटी यू वर्क, LLM will not have information of a student data, right? So is there a way that I can create one university agent, data agent, and I have all your university जितने भी आपके प्रोसेस होते हैं एडमिशन से लेकर के वट एवर सेमेस्टर रिजल्ट तक, इफ यू हैव दोज डेटा, कैन आई क्रिएट वन एजेंट? यस। ओके, नाउ गो टू दिस फाइल सर्च। So if you go to this file search, add to, it is saying add to, I'll say yes. It is saying attach a file, create an index, it will create an index, okay? And the vector index name is this, let it be the by default one, let not change it. Now it is saying browse a file. Okay, I have something called agent AI search something, some document I have, I'm just uploading it, this text document I have. Okay, I'm uploading it. So it is uploaded and successful. It is 2 KB. Okay, added it and I say attach. So once I say attach, okay, तो आप देखोगे यहाँ पे there is one tool, file search आ गया। Okay, and this is a tool attached now. Okay, so I have now two tools attached. One is web search, one is file search to this LLM. To this LLM. Okay, so now अब क्या हुआ, क्या करा हमने? We'll say AI agent equal to AI agent equal to LLM, and here our LLM is GPT-5 plus we are saying I have web search tool, so I'll write tools. कौन सा टूल यूज कराया अपन ने? वेब सर्च, वेब सर्च। ओके, plus which tool we have used? File search. File search, okay, these tools plus dot, let it be. Okay, so now what we are using, the two tools we are using to make our agent. One, now we have added external document, external data we have given to, and I call it as a file search agent. Oh, sorry, file search tool. Now we have a two tool, file search is also there. Okay, now I am changing the persona of this assistant. I am saying you are an AI trainer and give me answer related to AI and use file search tool to give me the response. Okay. And let me also write, give me grounding response and give me factually correct response. Okay. So this is, I am giving a persona because in that text, I have some of the AI related info. Okay. So now if I go down, GPT LLM given this instructions, so it is a persona, AI trainer as a persona, one of the persona I am given to. There are two tools here I'm using. One is a file search, other one is a web search. Then I go down, I'm not adding knowledge, memory and guardrail. Okay. For now, we are leaving it. Now there is something called save. We'll save it. Okay. Now, if I just, you have to just reload the page for the safety. Just reload it. And let me show you what file I have given to, so that it will be easy for you people. Where I am. Stop sharing. I'm sharing my screen again. Where I am. Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this file I have given, this file I have given, just see. When response will come, then you do not get confused. This is the small file I have given. And I'm writing, I'm just copying it, okay, in front of you. I will write what is this AI agent and agentic AI. That's all, okay? I'm stopping my screen. I'm going to Azure portal, okay? So in video, it will be easy for you to grab it, okay? But if where I was, yeah, this is great. Okay. If it starts showing, do let it know. Screen is visual, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now everything is configured. Now we have two tools. Okay. Now I'm writing what is the one that I have copied. That's all. I'm hitting and just get a response. Just see what it gives us. Okay. Now, very interesting one, this one. If you go up, I have asked a question which was written in my document. Okay. So what is agentic and AI agent? So if you see, they have also one. Okay. This is coming from, this response is coming from my text agentic AI Azure. Okay. So this response is coming from that text. So that is why you are getting this one. Okay. One. Second, we are getting this response again from the references we are getting from this file. Third, this answer is also coming from this file, the same file that we have given. It's called a grounding response, because why? I am getting this response from my file only. Okay. Everything. Fifth is also coming from that file. 6, 7, everything. So now if you see this like this, 9th, everything. Okay. So if you see like this is called a grounding response. And from where it is coming from? It is coming from, let's say, wave, which tool we have used, this file search tool. Okay. So now your question was, I know you, Ratna, or Subhangi, who were asked me the hallucinations part. How it can hallucinate now? We are getting a factually correct answers. Why? Because now we have references. Will it hallucinate? No. Because at every response, we have some tagging that it is coming from your own document, right? So this is called a factually correct response. That is why people are looking for those agents where we have those sources attached. So that we typically call as a grounding response. Okay, it will not have a hallucinations. Okay, it is a factually correct response. Okay, now if you go down, go to traces. If you go to the traces, can you see there are two tools used? One is your web search, other one is your file search. That is why you see two tools. Okay.
Yes, sir.
किसी और को कोई question है? नहीं. So if you go down, you see a response like this. Now, in the metadata, if you go, also always go to the metadata, okay, and see the structure of the output. Typically, we have got something like this, okay. So this is the way we can create an AI agent and attach tool to and get the response back and create a systems which gives you informations which are factually correct. Got it? So this is the way you can create a agentic or AI agent for now, where we have the tools, okay, and get our responses which are factually correct, grounded response, and also you can put a guardrail here. Okay, so guardrail is not an issue. Okay. So today what we have done, we have created an AI agent using Microsoft Foundry and added a tools. So it is an AI agent that we have created. Got it? And attach this file search and web search. Any question, anybody? No question? Everybody is silent.
Excuse me, sir.
Manju.
Sir, I had a question, like not from today's class, but I had a general question. Can you tell us about the REST APIs? Like, how do they work?
REST API. Okay. So REST API is again a framework, I would say, the how API are being handled. Okay. So, why typically we need some of the APIs? That is more important. Okay. So when we say any of the APIs, because it is a lightweight and easily you can consume. Okay. So there is also something called FastAPI. Okay. And something called REST API. Okay. So there are different methods. Okay. And you can use it for your applications to retrieve the data, create a new data, update and delete. Okay. That is our REST. Okay. But the point is, why typically we use is, it's like, to transfer, to communicate with your systems. For example, if you want to communicate backend with the front end, we need some of the APIs. And how you can use it? You can use it using any of the REST API. And there is something called Fast API also. Okay. So whenever you see any of the API, whether it's a REST API or Fast API, okay, they are doing the same thing. It's connecting your backend with the front end. It's like a backend logic. So the backend logics are being built using these frameworks. Okay, it's called application programming interface, and how you are trying to interact your front end with the backend. How your backend will talk to front end is done through this API. Okay, so this is the REST and the fast API as well. Okay, so let me show you something. Let me show you something. Thank you for asking. Let me share my screen. So when it comes to API, can you see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
1 minute, let me stop sharing it. Let me share my screen again. Yeah, okay. So this is the one small applications of semantic kernel. Okay. So let's say you have some of the insurance claim and I just want to validate it. Okay. So for that, we have used this semantic kernel. Okay. So let me explain this code because explanation of the code is important. And also I have used this FastAPI. Okay. So I'll let you know that how you can access it, the endpoint, the FastAPI endpoint. Okay. So everything will be clear here. So this applications has virtual environment created and has something called environmental wizard. Right now, I'm not using anything. I have made it not to use right now because it's a chargeable right now. But in next session, we will use it, this Azure OpenAI. But now I have made it static so that we'll only see that using the semantic kernel and fast API, how we can access the result, how we can check the result. Okay. So it has everything that your question right now, whatever you asked me. Okay. Now, in this one, if you go to the requirement.txt, there are a lot of library that I have used. If you see this fast API I have used. So this fast API is used typically to connect your, uh, front end with the back end, or it will talk to each other. Or if you want to expose your output, typically you can use it using this fast APIs or any of the REST APIs format. Okay. Now there is a pydentic. It's just format to get in a structured format. So whenever you see pydentic, it's a you want to get it in a output in a structured format. That is the pydentic AI. Typically, it's a Python library. Okay. Then we have a semantic kernel. This is the library and native plugins that it will use. Okay. Now we have a PyTest just for testing. We don't require it, right? Okay. Now if you go to this, don't go with this Docker file and everything. It is for deployment. So environmental file .env we have seen right now. We are not using .env. Okay, it's a static applications right now. And if I go to this requirement, we have seen it what all libraries that we are using. If you go to this app, okay, you see there is something called init.py. If you want to make your folder module, then init.py is typically written and it's like a blank folder. Okay, blank file. Okay. Now go to kernel.py. So if you go to kernel.py, here semantic kernel logic is written. If I go down, so this one is again a module, okay, and it is importing JSON. Why? Because responses will come in JSON format, and if I want to interpret that JSON in some human readable language, then we use this import JSON. Okay, import read. Okay, this is for regular expressions and function tool. And this is again, you can say more of a functions is used. Okay. If you go down, pydentic is used for structured output. Okay. And the semantic kernel is again our agentic AI framework. That is why these functions and their modules we have used, classes and their modules we have used. If you go down, this is again the Azure, you can say the environmental variable you will be using, but right now you are not using it. If you go down, these are the functions imported from our semantic kernel. That is why you see two decorators that they have used. Okay. Now, if you go down, you have a something called schemas, because in my application, I'll say text-free insurance claim. Okay. Whenever I write the descriptions, then it will go to this class, okay, of claim request. And if I go down, how I have defined this claim request class, the base model, because I have used this pydentic AI or pydentic Python framework, I need to, get the response. We will get a response something like this. Okay. I mean, a structured format. I want to get a response. That is why this base model is used. Now, this is the three policy that I have. Okay. And based on these policies, this is hard coded for me right now. This is a native plugin right now I'm seeing just for a small demo that I have used. Okay. And the claim policy is again one class. And inside that, you see this kernel function is defined. This is one of the kernel functions. Okay, semantic kernel function. The name of the semantic kernel function is lookup policy. I'll see the policy first. And what this function will do, validate the insurance policy number and will return the response in JSON format. Will have what keys? Status it will have, coverage and deductible information it will have. Now you have something called lookup policy. This is the definition. It will see the lookup policy and everything and what it will return. So once you run this lookup policy functions, it will return policy number, valid, status, holder, coverage, and deductible. Okay. Now, if you go down, this is again a different functions that are typically coming from our semantic kernel. Okay. So it will check the policy and everything. So this is for that, and there are a lot of functions used, to take care of your insurance claim. If you see this one as async dev functions, this is the privately defined functions. Async means it will run parallelly. That is why async is written here. And their plugin name and lookup policies that we have attached coming from above. So this is our code typically. Okay. So I want you to go through this code and have understanding of this code because this is a huge code. That is why I just do not want it to show you. But if you can run it, we'll have understanding of that how we can expose it to as a fast API. So my interest is to show you through the fast API. So there are two scripts. One is for a semantic kernel and other one is how we attach the semantic kernel with main. So we will run main.py. Okay. So now as we want to expose our response as a fast API, so that is why I'm using this fast API here. Okay. And we have initialized this fast API. Okay. This is the initialization of fast API. And there is, the classes that I'm importing. These are the 4 classes and functions defined in kernel.py. Okay. Kernel.py. That is why I'm importing it from kernel.py. And app is our module. This is a package name. I would say this is a folder. That is why we are importing like this, because init.py is there. And this will make entire folder as a module. Okay, that is why app, kernel app, something like this you will see in this Python script. Okay. Now, if you go down, these are the 2 endpoint. Okay, these are the 2 endpoint. Health, you will see /health, I'll show you. And there is a get. And there would be one more, I think. And the post one is there. This one is a post. So once you have the claim, I'll add the claim. So let me explain you what is this. So if you go in the main.py, just remember it. Once I show the interface of fast API, then you will understand. There are 3 endpoints. One is a get /health you will get. Second one is our root one. This is the normal one. And there is a third endpoint. We have this claim validate one. Okay, now let me run it. Okay, let me run this. I'll say Python main.py. No, uvicorn, right? I have to write. You have to write uvicorn. Okay, app main.py and reload. Just run it. If you run it, is it running or what? What? कोई क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हो क्या? आवाज ही नहीं आ रहा मुझे. कोई क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं क्या?
No, sir.
What? Let me run it. So once you run it, you'll see what you will see. Yeah. You will see something called uvicorn. This is a fast API. When you run it, you get something called uvicorn running on this. Okay. So once you click it, okay. So now application started up, application complete. Server process, I think it has started. Okay. Go and copy this. Let me copy it. And go to, okay, you cannot see browser, right? Stop sharing it. Let me go. Where should I go? Let me share my entire screen. Yeah. Can you see the browser? Can you see the browser?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in the browser, you will write like this. HTTP 127.0.0.1. This is the port where FastAPI will run. This is the server. Okay. And then I'll hit this /docs. Now let me hit enter. If I hit enter, what you get? The endpoint, health, root, and semantic kernel. Now go to this code, the one that I was explaining. What we have? One is health. Okay. Second one, we have a root. And third one is this one, claim or validator, semantic kernel. This tag is there. If I go here, health, root is there, and semantic kernel. These three endpoint, got it? Okay. Now, if you
So
hit
these are the project endpoints.
हाँ, ये एंड पॉइंट आएगा आपको, ठीक है। अब मैं बताऊंगा ये कब यूज करता हूँ, ठीक है। अब इसका आउटपुट मुझे देखना है। पहले मैं क्या दिखाता था, टर्मिनल में आपको आउटपुट दिखाता था, राइट, यहाँ आ जाता था, याद है, प्रॉम्प्ट डालता था तो यहाँ पे रिस्पॉन्स आता था ना।
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
अभी ये रिस्पॉन्स ही नहीं आ रहा है। नाउ व्हाट आई हैव डन, आई हैव wrapped all the output inside that fast API. I will explain, where they will use, who will use. Okay. So let me go to this semantic, this, address. This is fast API endpoint typically we say, and this is our use. This is for our use. So I'll go and create here. Okay. Just see this screen. 1 minute. So if you see this semantic kernel and the one you people were asking, sir, endpoint क्या है? यही endpoint है. /API/v1/claim/validate. This is the endpoint. Front end guy, those who are working in, इसको क्या बोलते हो, UI वाले जो होते हैं. UI का एक बताना किसमें यूज करते हो? UI जो बनाते हो किसमें, HTML एंड उसको क्या बोलते हो? जावा स्क्रिप्ट एंड देयर इज वन मोर,
CSS.
एक और जो है,
Flutter,
नहीं नहीं, फ्लटर नहीं, एक और जो है, अरे जिसका वो साइन थोड़ा उल्टा सा मैं भूल जाता हूँ। हाँ,
React,
रिएक्ट पे, या फिर एक और भी है, ठीक है। सो हाँ, रिएक्ट। तो रिएक्ट गाय विल टेल यू कि मुझे एंड पॉइंट दे दो। तो मांग क्या रहा है, वो लॉजिक मांग रहा है कि जो भी लॉजिक आपने बनाया है ना जेन एआई का, एवरी लॉजिक इज देयर हेयर, योर लॉजिक एवरीथिंग इज रैप्ड अप हेयर, इट्स अ रैपर. So let me show you. I'll say there is something called try it out. Just click it, try it out. Okay. Now it is saying claim text. This is the prompt basically. And I will write here. So मैं यहां से उठा लूंगा जहां पे था कर्नल पे, एक कुछ था ना इंश्योरेंस का, हार्ड कोडेड था. Just for your purpose, where it was. Policy number ये. Okay. I'll go here. Go down. Okay. And I'll say, can you tell me about this policy, and just paste it. Okay, चलो कोई भी आंसर आएगा, we'll see. So this is the, now I'm using your fast API, this interface as a prompting ground. Otherwise क्या होता था कि I used to show you in that terminal only. I'll say execute. So once you say execute, you'll get some response. So now I am getting this policy number. This is the response. And this is your endpoint. Got it? So if, let's say, your React guy will say, कि give me the endpoint, you will give this endpoint. Okay? Got it? समझ में आया सबको? And this endpoint will hold, this is the, input to this endpoint, and what you will get the output, you'll get output like this. And what is the output? This is the response body. Policy number जो मैंने डाला था, it's saying valid, it's active, and what it covers, collision, liability, and roadside insurance it covers, and decision is approved, and mode is mock, and it is invoked by semantic kernel plugins. जिसमें जो pydantic AI जो हमने यूज किया था, pydantic framework, that is why it is giving me the structured output, a structured response we are getting. So the React guy will use my this API key, this API endpoint, and they will embed in UI. They will embed it. तो आपको एक यूजर स्क्रीन दिखेगा. So people use this fast API so that you can check whether your API endpoint is working or not. So this will make you double sure that okay, आप बोलोगे हाँ मेरा API endpoint तो काम कर रहा है, राइट? तो फ्रंट एंड वाले आपसे लड़ाई नहीं कर सकता. यू विल से कि मेरा एपीआई एंड पॉइंट काम कर रहा है, राइट? सो दिस इज हाउ यू वर्क विद द डिफरेंट वर्टिकल्स. So as a Gen AI or backend developer, you'll have to work on those APIs because the logic जो आपने बनाया, मैंने लॉजिक जो सिमेंटिक कर्नल मैंने इंप्लीमेंट करा, अब मैं एक्सपोज कर रहा हूँ एपीआई एंड पॉइंट के थ्रू. तो थ्रू द फास्ट एपीआई वॉट एवर आई हैड अ लॉजिक, आई हैव इम्प्लीमेंटेड एंड आई हैव गिवन द एपीआई टू माई फ्रंट एंड डेवलपर कि आप फ्रंट एंड डेवलपर आप जो इसमें इम्बेड कर लो और एक यूआई स्क्रीन बना लो, राइट? यूजर इंटरफेस. गॉट इट? समझ में आया?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. तो एंड पॉइंट और एपीआई कैसे और ये सब समझ में आ गया ना? ठीक है. तो इस तरह से आप बना सकते हो. ठीक है. जैसे ये रूट और हेल्प बाय डिफॉल्ट होता है, इसमें कोई जरूरत नहीं, ट्राई आउट ये सब करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं. ठीक है. इसको चेक करना हो, डेटा डालना हो तो इस तरह से आप डाल सकते हो. सो दिस इज हाउ इट इज वर्किंग फॉर अस. So now we have also worked on the back-end part also. For semantic kernel logics, we have exposed using this fast API. Yeah, and the front-end developer will use it. ठीक है. Any questions, anybody? कोई सवाल? किसी को कोई क्वेश्चन? नो क्वेश्चन, राइट? So let's meet next weekend and we'll have few more topics. Let me cover it. Okay. So I think it's sufficient. Agentic AI framework, Crew AI, and LangGraph is sufficient for you people. But again, I'll cover one more framework along with semantic kernel. Okay. So कुछ data source का भी देख लेते हैं. Then you'll have everything in your plate. Okay. So thank you so much, and let's meet in the next session. Okay. Thank you.